Night shift workers, what's the creepiest thing that's happened? I was working at a middle school as a night shift custodian. I cleaned a long U-shaped wing full of classrooms every weeknight. I'd already locked up one set of doors to the wing and was about to lock the ones at the other end of the U. I made the full lap around the wing, and I'd been cleaning there all night alone, and came to the end of the hallway where the doors to the rest of the school were. When I shut the lights off, the dark silhouette of what looked like a child ran from across the end of the hallway, from left to right. There were doors down there, but I'd just locked them all up and no one was around. I was so creeped out, I locked the doors connecting the wing to the rest of the school and ran to my car. I always felt like I was seeing things out of the corner of my eye, working there at night. But that was the most visible, for sure thing I saw at that place. This happened when I worked in a hotel right out of high school. I did overnight in the laundry room, but I would help the front desk run invoices to the rooms sometimes. I was on the third floor at like 2, I think, when I bent down to slide the invoice under the door, and a pen flew past my face and hit the door. I didn't keep pens on me, and I checked around the hallway, but it was silent. You know hotel doors, they're heavy, and you can hear people open and close them. I am 100% positive I heard nothing. When I got downstairs, I asked my coworker if they saw anything, but they said they weren't paying attention to the security screen. Really freaked me out. That was the only thing that happened in the 8 months I was there. I used to work at a bowling alley. I had finished closing and I had just turned off all the lights and was about to leave. Suddenly, one of the lanes turns on. The only way they turn on is a switch in the back, so I turned on the lane lights and started walking back to turn it off. I was just about to go behind the lanes past the curtain when it shut off again. We didn't have cameras there, but I really wish we did because my boss didn't believe me. I used to work at a bowling alley too, and that would have terrified me because we had a 20-lane alley, and the first 10 lanes were connected, and the second 10 were connected power-wise. For example, if you wanted lane 3 on lanes 110, would have to all be powered up. Would be pretty odd if just one turned on. The one I worked at was only 6 lanes. They each had their own little panel box at the back. It was kind of nice the way it was set up though, because if the lanes got jammed, I could only turn of the one lane and unknot the strings so the other lanes could keep bowling. It did terrify me. One of the owners suddenly passed of a brain aneurysm, which is how I got my job there. It was just me and my boss. After she passed, there was almost a lingering presence. I hated being there alone. I worked for a moving company restocking the trucks based on supplies they would need that morning. It's a shitty job. Never work for a moving company. Anyways, I'm stocking a truck pulled up to the dock when I realize my vision is getting fuzzy. I'm tired. I rub my eyes. My forearm feels wet, but I figure it's sweat, and my vision clears. It happens again. I rub my eyes, and my forearm feels wet again. I look at my arm finally to see hundreds of crushed baby spiders. My vision wasn't fuzzy. Baby spiders were crawling on my eyelashes. I was covered in baby spiders. I ran to the nearest water hose and got everything off. The next morning, I had lots of tiny bites on my legs, but otherwise, nothing else. Used to deliver pizza to the worst areas of my college town until 2 a.m. nightly. We were the only pizza place in that city who went to those neighborhoods. The amount of violence I saw was shocking. Being put in impossibly sketchy situations in the worst apartment buildings / the most dangerous streets was frightening. The worst part was a massive mental hospital I'd have to deliver large orders to, large enough to take me 2 or 3 trips through security / up and down elevators. Some of the patients were allowed to roam free. Some would stare at me through locked doors. This food was all for patients. This happened once a month. That place scared the hell out of me. My friend was carjacked while delivering pizzas in college. Guy held him at gunpoint and made him drive to a house to get weed. Somehow, my friend convinced the guy he would be cool and wait for him, and they would smoke out. Of course, as soon as the guy went in the house, my friend took off and called the cops. Scary shit. Not I, but a friend of mine, worked at a water treatment plant on graveyard shift. From what I understand, he was there to check levels, adjust stuff, make sure nothing blew up, you know. Just him. Access doors are unlocked, but he's inside an 8-foot tall, locked barbed wire fence. This place is next to a highway connecting two cities an hour away from each other, with not much in between. About 2:33 a.m. He's killing time, playing his Nintendo DS, when he hears a voice from behind him. "Go get on the ground." My friend goes cold, complies. He's held at gunpoint. This guy ties him up with duct tape, all while saying he's sorry he had to do this, and steals the keys to his truck, his wallet, cards, etc. He hears him drive off, waits a while longer, and finally calls the police. The guy was arrested later that day. Turns out, he had escaped from inmate custody in the next town over and was desperate. He'd probably been walking forever. My friend honestly had PTSD of sorts from it for a while, still works there though. I was working as campus security and I had to close down the main law school building. The building was downtown in a major city and was old enough that the tunnels underneath it were used in the Underground Railroad. Think dirt floors and wooden crossbeams, like you would imagine a mine. There was work going on in the tunnels. Not sure what it was, but I think they were reinforcing the supports. Anyways, as part of my routine, I had to go around and check to make sure the build was vacant. I climb down the ladder into the tunnels. All the contractor lights are off. I say a few "hello, anyone here?" and shine my flashlight around silence for a moment. Then I hear what sounds like a radio tune from the 1920s coming from the tunnel. I immediately climb the ladder and padlock the trapdoor, arm the motion sensors, and leave. Fuck that. I worked at a supermarket, and on Thursday nights, after we close, they would put up tags for the new salsa on Friday mornings. Me and one of the other supervisors stayed after closing to help out as there was a huge changeover and we wanted to lend a hand. It was just myself, the other supervisor, female, and a couple guys working in the back room breaking down pallets. At about 3 a.m. we heard a blood-curdling female scream from one of the other aisles. I immediately thought something happened to the other supervisor, but when I turned around, she was in the same aisle as me. We ran to where the sound came from, but did not find anyone in the store. We asked the guys in the back room if they heard something, and they were relieved as they heard it a few times a week and thought they were going crazy. The next day, we even had security look at the cameras, and there was definitely nobody else in the store. Safe to say, neither of us worked overnight again.